Let me start, Anisha, by saying thank you and thank you to you and congratulations on the organization of this summit, because like in this time of crisis, really it's always interesting to see that we adjust and we adapt, and we're doing it virtually. And I'm going to go back to the presentation, the previous presentation, and I think there was something very interesting there, and I want to echo it because that was very meaningful. One, my colleague said that digital transformation, to transform the continent, you have to digital transform people. It's all about people. So this is, to be honest, like I really believe that capacity building is one major challenge that we have to face in all digital projects in Africa. So the previous presentation was key because capacity building it is, I would say. Now, if you allow me, Anisha, I would share my screen. I'll prepare like a quick presentation for our audience here. Is it okay?
Yes, please go ahead. Yes.
Okay. Can you see?
Yes, we can see. Please go ahead.
Yes. So I've been here for like a little bit. I was listening in the back. And another colleague in the session about digital transformation as a reaction to the COVID-19 said that we have this huge market size, right, which is Africa, 1.2 billion people. But really, it's not a market size of 1.2 billion people because we have over 50 countries and different regulations. And in order for Africa to really fulfill that potential, we have to think about transforming Africa into a single digital market, which means use the ICT, right, to kind of bring African people together under different governments. So in this very brief presentation, I'm going to go over maybe the landscape of Africa as Smart Africa, as a Pan-African international organization, kind of have a good view of what's happening in Africa, especially in our member states. I'm going to talk about a little bit about Smart Africa, and I will talk about the current projects, you see, concrete projects that we're doing on the ground, and how we're doing it to transform Africa into a single digital market. So the picture as of today of Africa, let me start with some plus and minuses here in the table. And I hope that it will be, you know, a little bit informative for our audience here, especially the ones that live outside the continent, that don't know much about Africa. Africa is a 1.3 billion population market size, between 1.2 and 1.3. But the downside, as I said in my introduction, is like it's 50 plus countries with 50 plus digital legal regulations and policies, right? That means like if you're successful in Cameroon, it doesn't mean that you'll be successful in Congo, for example, right? Because they have different regulations. So there is a need of harmonization of policies there. The second plus is mobile data traffic has grown by 20 times between 2013 and 2019. And this is what this graph on the right is showing. This is amazing. This is what we call Africa as a mobile continent. It's still growing. MNOs, the mobile operators have ways to reach out to people in the most isolated places in Africa, you know, and this is something that needs to be exploited. Now, on the downside, less than 30% of Africans have internet access. Yes, so we need to do like, there is room for improvement there. On the plus side, the share of internet users in Kenya, for example, I use Kenya as an example, is 87.2%. amazing. So if you go to Kenya, you'd be like, wow, Africa, everybody is connected to the internet, yes? But look, if you look at another country, a random over country, Chad in Central Africa, the share of internet users is only 6.3%. And this is the disparities that exist in Africa. Yes, and that makes this continent so special. Then if you look at digital finance, I mean, this is a sector that is booming in Africa, especially with mobile money. As I said, like it helps reach out to all those people that don't have access to banking, for example. Then they can have, traditional banking. Now they can have access to mobile money and have some form of virtual bank account. But if you look at the downside, 500 million of African people are still without any form of digital identity. What it means is that the informal sector is huge in Africa. Yes, it means that those people cannot access to social services, digital social services, because they're not identified, they're invisible. Then entrepreneurship ecosystems have grown by 10 times in the last 5 years. I mean, we have like a lot of African entrepreneurs. As you know, Africa is the youngest continent in the world, and they have awesome ideas, and they're happy to go into the digital platforms and amaze us every day. But yet, as I mentioned, as I answer to the question, I think the biggest challenge of Africa is digital skills or digital capacity building. This is a current challenge that we see. Okay, 8% only across sub-Saharan Africa have digital skills estimated, which is very low compared to the rest of the world. AFCFTA was signed by 44 countries. Great initiative. 36 countries have already ratified the treaty as of 4 December 2020. Very awesome. It shows like political will. But yet, intra-Africa trade represent only 18% of African exports. That means African countries and African players don't trade among each other. Yes? Against 69% for the same statistic in Europe. And this statistic of 18% is really what justifies why we need to transform Africa into a single digital market. That ICT tools are giving us the opportunity to become a single market and to completely exploit the potential of Africa. Now, the Smart Africa Alliance, I'm not going to spend too much time into this so that I can leave some time for questions, but it started in 2013. We recent international organizations. It started with 7 heads of state that all endorsed the Smart Africa Manifesto, as well as the African Union. And the 5 principles of the Smart Africa Manifesto are here. And of course, you can go to our website to have more details. But the idea here is that those 7 heads of state say, in order for us to compete with the rest of the world, we need to work together. Yes? Myself, I'm from a country called Gabon. Gabon is 1.52 million people, right? So that means like less than 2 million market size. What is Gabon will really say when it sits on the table with China? There's like over 1 billion people market size. You see, so it's important to work together in Africa to really fulfill that potential again. Now, Smart Africa is not only the member states. We have 31 member states, but it's also the private sector, because we believe that the expertise, the private sector are really the one on the ground, right? Addressing those challenges, and the expertise is key to fulfill the digital transformation of Africa, to complete it. Not only we have the private sector and the member state, but the vision is also aligned with our partner organizations. And of course, you have ITU and African Union, right? Who are co-chairs of ASTIRCO. The leadership of Smart Africa is the key. For those that know the African continent, there is something that is key for the success of projects, and that is political will. political will. And we have a top to bottom approach. We start with the head of states, which constitute a board, and then we go down to the field, right? So we have our board meetings once or twice per year, and we have all the member states, the heads of state of all the member states there. We have AU, ITU, and we also have the private sector platinum members, right? Because the private sector is key. Private sector is key for the digital transformation of Africa. Now, let's look at the vision in terms of groups of objectives, right? We have this strategic plan that is based on 3 focus areas. We have infrastructure, promote and facilitate doing business and investing across Africa. And the 3rd focus area is accelerate the birth and development of digital society. And within those 3 groups, we have different projects, right, ongoing. In blue, you have the ongoing active projects, and in white, you have the yet to start project, but they're still in the pipeline. So you have cross-cutting activities. Policies is a cross-cutting activity. Harmonization of policies in Africa. We have One Africa Network. We have cybersecurity. Capacity building, as I mentioned, is key, and it's a cross-cutting activity, but you have also entrepreneurship and innovation. Then you have building blocks such as cross-border digital payments, digital ID, connectivity, and broadband. And you have different services also as agri-tech, e-government, e-commerce, blockchain, big data, and artificial intelligence. And all this project is to bring these outcomes, which is job creation. We have the youngest continent. We have too many unemployed people in Africa. We need to create jobs. Sustainable development, cashless economy, especially in times of COVID. Citizen participation. Remember, people are very important here as well. Transparency, trust, and accountability. So this is another thing that is special on how we work in Smart Africa. Each country has a puzzle, has a key to the puzzle, has a piece to the puzzle, right? If the puzzle is digital transformation, each country has a piece. What it means that each one of the different projects that you've seen in the previous slide is really championed by the country. I, as a head of digital transformation, I work in the Smart Africa Secretariat. Smart Africa, as you've seen, is the member state, the private sector, and the partner organizations. And really the ownership belongs to the member states and the head of states. We only develop a project when the head of state had decided to do so, and we execute as the secretariat. So you see, the ownership is really with the countries, and it's each country that is good at what it does within this digital transformation ecosystem that leads the initiative for the continent and share best practices. For example, you have Rwanda here, and I will talk a little bit more about this, the champion smart cities. You've heard about Kigali being a city, the cleanest city on the continent, and they share the best practices with the rest of the countries through the board meetings and other organ meetings and concrete projects. So we've done some, I wanted to share also this because I felt it would be interesting for the audience. We've done some interesting survey in 2019. That was before COVID, okay? So let's take it with gloves. We've done it before COVID, and we had like a set of projects that we sent to our member states in order for us to identify our priorities. And these are the results of that survey that we sent to our member states. Data centers, important. Broadband access, very key for Africa, for our governments. Then the project that is the most important for the government is African startup ecosystem development. Remember, it's all about, there is a big emphasis in job creation in Africa. So it doesn't surprise us that African startup ecosystem development is #1. Then you have on top as well, youth development, schools with electricity, Smart Africa Digital Academy. You see, those projects are all Smart Africa Scholarship Fund. Those projects are all related to, again, capacity building in Africa. So how do we do this? Well, we have this 4 steps process that we do with our members. To the step number 1, we identify the digital topic. Step number 2, we develop the blueprint that is continental to harmonize this strategy at a regional and continental level. Then we do fundraise and proof of concept in countries, and then we do scale up. Concretely, these are the projects and the different status, right? The cloud and data centers is still at the conceptual level. But then you have projects like One Africa Network and Smart Cities that are already in implementation and pilot. And you have the Smart Africa Digital Academy that is totally implemented. And we actually training decision makers, and we also training startups, and we're training also citizens, right? On questions, on topics of digital transformation. We also have the Smart Africa Scholarship Fund, where we fund young African students to go to the best universities, such as Carnegie Mellon University here in Africa. Let's take a concrete example of this process. Step number 1, this one is the Smart Cities flagship project of Rwanda. Step number 1 was to identify the digital topic. We understand with this graph, which is taken from the concept note, that the African population is increasing and more people will go into cities, which will put more pressure to those cities and the governments to be able to manage those people. So we developed then in step number 2, the blueprint, the continental blueprint. And this blueprint was not only the only strategic document that we developed, we also developed master plans at a national level for Rwanda, right? Which include an implementation plan. You need political will, you need a strategy, but you also need an implementation plan with concrete projects for projects to be successful in Africa. In the implementation plan, we identified the smart waste management system to be crucial for the city of Kigali. And here you see, along with the city of Kigali, RISA, development partner NORAD from Norway, and the Ministry of ICT, we built those this smart waste management system. And to give you some information about it, it's smart bins, right? You have solar panels that are energized like sensors and tell you when the bin is full, and then it communicates it to a center in the city of Kigali. And you also have like cameras on top there that we cannot see. So step number 4, we scale up. We go to other countries, because once His Excellency President Kagame, for example, showed this project to the other heads of state, they say, hey, we also want this expertise from Rwanda. Rwanda is doing well in terms of clean cities and such. We want the same thing. So we go into those other countries and we make sure that they develop master plans or national strategies and implementation plans so that they don't repeat the same errors that we've seen in Rwanda. And we've done it in Ghana, Tunisia, Guinea, and Benin. So this is a complete process with one project, and this is what we do with all the projects that we have at Smart Africa to transform Africa into a single digital market. Let me stop here with this slide with DG here and talk a little bit about COVID. DG said it well during our last board meeting December 7 with the heads of state. He said the challenges seen in 2020 with COVID have also seen opportunities for Africa's digital transformation. So if you look at the previous session, the title was Digital Transformation as a Reaction to the COVID-19. I would change that title slightly. I would say COVID-19 as a catalyst of digital transformation in Africa. thank you. And there is the link here. If you want to know more about what Smart Africa has done in terms of COVID, please do not hesitate to go to that link, and you will have all the information there. Here, the true size of Africa is shown within this picture. If you look at Africa, it can take China, United States, Eastern Europe, India, Germany, France, and Spain. It's a huge continent with huge potential, and we invite, of course, all the partners to come on board in this journey of digital transformation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ralph, for your presentation. Really, the size and the scope and the potential of Africa is astounding. And we wish all the digital players all the best for making great inroads in Africa. And we hope we'll see a faster adoption given the penetration of mobiles and internet is only increasing. We have a couple of questions that have come for you, Dr. Ralph. One is from Castro Messina. His question is, I agree with the point that digital skills is a problem in Africa, but what are the practical things that we need to do to turn the situation around?
Very good question, and thank you for the question. And you see, digital skills is a, I don't like the word problem, I would say a big challenge, because you have to address it from bottom up. Yes, it's not only at the level of the citizens or the young children that you have to address digital skills, but you also have to address it with decision makers, with policy makers as well. So it has to be a very comprehensive approach in order to really tackle this challenge. And this is what we try to do at Smart Africa with the Smart Africa Digital Academy.
Right, Dr. Ralph, we have a couple of more questions. I would just request you to stop your presentation so that we can see you full screen and you can answer these questions as well. So the next question that we have is from Chris S.A. Zubar. He's the CDO with Keystone Bank. He's asking, what's your opinion on leveraging e-governance to transform public institutions that are at the core of policy formulation and implementation that enables or inhibits economic growth?
Very good question. I mean, we have an excellent audience here. And this is one of the battles of Smart Africa here. I don't know if you've seen the slide that I presented. I did it on purpose. I put the private sector on one side and I put member states on one side. The solution is for governments, yes, to work closely with the private sector, yes. And once they work together, this is where you see now very interesting things that happen, yes? Because now you have proper planning because the private sector has the expertise. Then you have also proper planning, but you also have a way to address like challenges, right, that the government is facing properly. But it's important to leave the sovereignty to the government, meaning it's important for the government to be at the architect, to be at the driver's seat, but they need also to embrace the private sector within the environment, and this starts with policies. And I think that they understood it with COVID. We've seen a lot of partnerships between governments and even local startups in order to digitize like government departments, for example. So there is a good hope that it will happen. And also from previous session, I heard something very interesting, which was that government and regulators are catching up. And I heard it from the private sector. This is fantastic.
This is truly heartening. Very quickly, Ralph, will take one more question that is coming from Chris. He's asking, how do we focus the priorities on the 20% of action that produces 80% of the transformation that Africa truly needs?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry, kind of slow down in the middle.
Yeah, Chris is asking another question, and this is about digital transformation. He's asking, how do we focus the priorities on the 20% of actions that produce 80% of the transformation Africa truly needs?
Okay, Well, at Smart Africa, this is what we do. We tackle one project at a time, and this is what we did this priority survey to really understand the needs of the countries. And again, let me repeat this. And the previous presenter said it well, leapfrog, yes? We talk about leapfrog, but the frog has to leap, if I can borrow this expression. It was a very good expression. The frog has to leap. And for the frog to leap, we have to make the condition for the frog to leap. And we also have to make sure that we talk to the frog, right? So it's all about the people and the governments. We need to talk to them, address the priorities, focus on those priorities, and build on low-hanging fruits, on small successes. Yes, and make sure that we have this best practice sharing across Africa, because there is no point of, for example, Ghana being successful at a project and then Nigeria doing the same project but not talking to Ghana. They need to talk to each other.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rad, for joining us and patiently answering so many questions. I'm sure, there are more questions, and I'm sure people will get in touch with you because you said that the market and the opportunity in Africa is large, but the way to capitalize on it may not be that simple or straightforward. I'm sure more people will get in touch with you. Thank you so much for joining us on the Digital Transformation Africa Summit. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anisha, and thank you for the kind opportunity for me to participate. Thank you.